Hey everybody, it's Phil here. Sorry, adjusting my chair. Coming to you from Japan. Again, this time I am going to talk about the coronavirus, and mostly good news, I think. In Japan, at least, we have... The numbers just haven't been going up. You know, I was a bit of a doomsayer, whatever you want to call it. And I thought, you know, Japan's going to be the next UK. For whatever reason, and I'm baffled by it, but for whatever reason, there just hasn't been a spread. Sorry, dog's freaking out. Hasn't been a spread significantly here in Japan. So we have had 742 deaths, which is, of course, tragic, but nothing like it could be. The deaths per million in Japan, and I'm not going to say, okay, you know, maybe the numbers aren't to be believed. These are the numbers we've got. So there's no other, like I said before, no magic source of numbers. So the deaths per million in Japan is 5. 5 people per million dead from this. To contrast that, in the UK, which has been quite significantly hit, the deaths per million is 500. So, yeah, let that sink in. So what Japan did, I don't know. I mean, Japan was so late to the game. I don't, you know, in locking down or staying at home down or whatever you want to call it. But wow, okay. So the numbers are so good that what they are doing is easing off on the restrictions that they have had in almost everywhere except the, you know, Tokyo, Osaka, Hokkaido, the places that have the most significant amount of cases. So that means in my area from Monday, for instance, I'll be able to go to the movies. And, you know, businesses will stay open, and I think bars and everything open. So you have that on one hand. On the other hand, they're telling us to stay vigilant, don't cross prefectural borders, provincial borders, no close contact, close communications, wear masks. So it's a bit of a mixed message, I feel. And I personally am not going to go back to the way things are because this is a virus that has not been eradicated. Essentially, there's nothing different. Nothing has changed. We still have unknown numbers of cases. We still have a very, very low testing rate. We still have all these other issues. It's just that I think for economic reasons, they're, you know, saying people should go back to work and things should open up again. The issue I've had all along is the testing. And Japan set this criteria for how we know if a prefecture should open up. And interestingly enough, testing is not in that criteria. The criteria is all about the numbers. But of course, so it says, you know, if you've had less than 1 case per 100,000 in the last week, and what is it, 10 cases per 100,000 in the last 2 weeks, or I can't remember the exact specifics, because it doesn't really matter. Because, you know, the easiest way to get no cases in the last week, just don't test. No place, and they, you know, has said, and actually it's half a case per 100,000. No place in Japan has said we have to have a testing threshold and then see how many cases we have. Surely, that should be the criteria. You should say you must have tested, let's say 10,000 people in the last week. Let's set the bar low, 10,000 people in the last week, and come back with an infection rate of less than X. You know, surely that would be the best way to go. But no, they're just doing it on the raw, who tests positive. And, you know, in Japan, they keep touting this number, that they have the capacity to test 15,000, process 15,000 tests a day, which is pretty poor when you think about it. But to process 15,000 tests a day, they keep saying, you know, we have this capacity, don't worry, we have this capacity. Never. The maximum they've ever done in Japan at any day, on any day, was 9,000, and that was only one day. On the high range was about 5,000 tests per day, but on average, they're testing, under 1,000 people per day in this country. So how can you say that the virus is gone? You can't, and we'll never know. And I don't know what they're waiting to happen, because we don't have a treatment, we don't have a vaccine. It's strange, and they're just going by the fact that for whatever reason, the infection rate seems to be low here. So that doesn't really help anybody in the rest of the world, does it? And but this is all about the perspective from Japan. So great for us. Japan's always kind of been like living a bit in the twilight zone, out of a bit of kind of alternate reality, and we continue it in this crisis. So I'm sorry for you people out there who are suffering. We have the Japanese government doing great things for economic stimulus and support. They're giving 100,000 yen, which is, let's say, $1,000 to everybody in the country. They're giving stimulus package for workers, stimulus packages for small business. They're just throwing money at this problem on every side except the testing. So that's where we're at. I hope that things are good with you. I'm going to do a little follow-up on this sooner rather than later. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I did one because I just got kind of depressed. But that's the way things are from Japan. See you soon.